Hey yo, E-King Fight News. You know what it is, we're back at it talking about Roy Jones Jr. and his final fight against Scott SIGMON. Scott SIGMON. Hey, who's Scott SIGMON? I don't know. Scott, he got 11 losses. He lost to Caleb Truax. He lost to everybody, man. He lost to every fucking super middleweight in the world, and you're gonna fight him at cruiserweight. Okay, Roy. Okay, let's get it in. Roy Jones Jr. versus Scott SIGMON. This is your post-fight review. E-King Fight News. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel. You know what it is. Roy Jones Jr. fighting a guy pretty much a blown-up super middleweight. Pretty much a career journeyman. You know, goes around, fights whoever he can. You know, he's got more wins than losses. So, Roy was like, why not? This is the guy. This is the guy. And you actually see him fight, and man, this guy is terrible. This guy is terrible, terrible, terrible. He's garbage, man. Scott SIGMON could not throw a proper power punch. Everything he throws is an arm punch. It's all arm punch. There's no leverage on the shot. You know, no power on the shot. And now I see it. Roy Jones, something happened to him when he moved down from heavyweight. And his chin just, ever since he got cracked by Tarver, his chin hasn't been holding up to some of the better punchers in any division. In any division he's been in. So when it came to Scott SIGMON, it was very clear from watching the first couple rounds, this dude does not have a KO punch. Absolutely not. And it'd be very difficult for a guy like a Scott SIGMON, who doesn't know how to put full power on his right hand, who doesn't even know how he was going to beat a Roy Jones Jr. When Roy Jones can literally lay his back on the ropes, put his hands up on high guard, and basically cover himself from any lethal, damaging blows from a guy like a Scott SIGMON, who really couldn't even get around that guard. He had a hard time getting around Roy Jones' guard. A lot of pitter-patter, no power on his shots, as I mentioned before. And Roy Jones would take his break and then somewhere in the end of the round or in the middle of the round, do one of his Roy Jones flurries. You know, excite the crowd. He's at his hometown in Pensacola, Florida. So they were definitely making noise every time Roy Jones let his hands go. It's just kind of a shame because UFC, they don't know how to do boxing. They don't know. This is their first time actually trying to present the sport of boxing. Without the help of Showtime or anyone showing them how to do it. You know, the UFC, they had a hard time. They had a hard time here. For one, they got a total bum who's not bringing you, he's not bringing any challenge to the table for Roy Jones. This was a bona fide sparring match for Roy Jones. And I hope it's his last fight. Because, you know, I don't want to see, you know, old man Roy get knocked out again, man. Like, we've seen it before. It only, at this stage, it's indifferent. It's just indifferent, you know. Like, he's already sort of taken these an extra 6 or 7 losses that he didn't have to take. He didn't have to take those losses. Nope. And probably the last 5 wins of his career were probably against guys who really have no name in boxing. That's just the truth. Look at his last 5 wins. You tell me if they have any legitimate claim to being a Hall of Famer or a great fighter. No, not at all. Roy Jones Jr. has been basically pimping boxing off of his legend status, and I believe he pimped the UFC in this one. He absolutely pimped them, and if the UFC made any money off this fight, I'd be surprised. I would be surprised, because it's not like he didn't even sell out that Pensacola Stadium. There were empty seats there, and it's not even that it's like an arena. People were in the front. There's just like a bunch of dining tables. It's just a bunch of dining tables, and half of the people there aren't paying attention to the fight. So it's a shame what Roy Jones had to do to really, set this fight up, because there wasn't really a lot of profit in it for the UFC. I don't think so. I mean, putting it on their Fight Pass, maybe that's just extra content for all those MMA fans who actually buy into that, because it was basically it's like how the WWE has their own network where you gotta pay $9.99 a month. This was the same shit. So obviously, I'm not gonna be buying into no UFC fucking. Well, we saw the fight how we saw the fight. It is what it is. Roy Jones Jr. Will always be remembered as one of the best fighters, one of the greatest super middleweights to light heavyweights of all time. No one's gonna take that away from him. He will always be at that level, but I can't call him one of the top 10 greatest fighters of all time. I can't do. In his prime, he was one of the closest things to untouchable as I've ever seen, and we're not gonna forget who Roy Jones was in his prime. He was damn near untouchable in his prime, and he made guys like Bernard Hopkins, he made guys like James Toney look ordinary. And wow, I wish I could have seen a James Toney rematch, because that would have been something special at heavyweight, and that's something we never saw. We never saw it. James Toney won a title and stepped up to heavyweight right around the same time Roy Jones went down from heavyweight to light heavyweight. So that would have been, man, well, I think one of the biggest mistakes of Roy Jones' career is coming down from heavyweight. You can't just go up and come right back down. And shout out to Jeff Mayweather. He did this whole walkthrough in the Mayweather gym about what people thought about Roy Jones, saying, in my prime, I was better than anybody. I'm the best ever. And a lot of people, ride along with that and call him the GOAT, call him one of the TBEs. You can check out his social media. A lot of people giving him credit, and where credit's due, Roy Jones one of the best of all time. But this fight, it's not worth watching. It's not worth. I saw it. It's not worth watching. It's a good little sparring session for Roy Jones, where he was able to outbox this bum-ass fighter. But that's just what it was. Scott Sigmon, he's a bum-ass fighter. He'll never be a world champion. Never be a world champion. And somehow, the announcer had the audacity to call this a championship match for some WBU. That's right, WBU cruiserweight title. The WBU cruiserweight title. My goodness. I didn't expect that. So there was a title on the line, and you could see the title in the opening, and it's just this random ass bleach fucking belt. just doesn't look right, and you can tell it probably cost them $100 to make. Okay, whatever. There's a title on the line for a Roy Jones fight. Wait, how old's Roy Jones? He's like 55 years old, like 45. I don't know. Anyways, E-King Fight News. Roy Jones Jr. pretty much outclassed. He dominated this boy Scott Sigmon from pillar to post. He made him look ordinary. This was the only thing that was really interesting about it was a bit nostalgic to see Roy Jones even at his age. These fucking dogs, man. These fucking dogs. Hold on a second. Hey. He made this guy look ordinary, and he was able to really bring back some memories of what he did early in his career, because he literally had this guy so outclassed he could do whatever he wanted in there, and that's what Roy Jones did. So E-King Fight News, that's my post-fight review. It wasn't a particularly entertaining fight, other than when Roy Jones started to let his hands go, and it was good to see. It was good to see him beat one more guy, but he didn't have to do this. He didn't have to go out and have this claim to be the first guy to show up on UFC, because I don't think any real legitimate fighters will end up fighting on the UFC for a very long time. Because right now they don't know how to present the sport of boxing in a way that is that's gonna appeal to the hardcore. I don't think they don't have it right now. They don't have it. It's a learning process for them. And the first thing they need to do is get some real fucking fighters. Because Roy Jones, pimping out Roy Jones like that, it ain't gonna help him. It ain't gonna help the UFC, not at this stage. So let me know what you guys think. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. You know what it is.